The rain fell in thin silver sheets that night, slicing through the pale glow of an old gas station sign on the edge of a quiet highway. It was almost midnight, and the world seemed asleep, except for one lonely soul standing under the flickering light, clutching an old, worn-out purse to her chest. Her name was Martha Green, a 76-year-old widow whose face carried the gentle map of 1,000 worries and whose eyes still shimmered with kindness that refused to fade with time. Her car, a rusty 1989 Bic that coughed more than it ran, sat beside the pump, half filled with fuel she couldn't afford. Inside the store, she had just counted her money twice, maybe 3 times, hoping the crumpled bills and coins would somehow grow in her hands. But it was exactly $10.32. That was all she had left. And yet, at that moment, Martha wasn't thinking about herself, because just a few feet away, drenched in the downpour, stood a young man beside a broken-down motorcycle. His leather jacket clung to him like a second skin, his hands shaking as he tried to fix something on the bike's engine. He looked exhausted, mud on his jeans, a cut on his cheek, and a frustration that only comes when life keeps hitting harder than you can stand. His name was Ryan, though Martha wouldn't know that yet. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to Soul Spark for more powerful true life stories that remind us what kindness truly means. The sound of the rain softened as Martha stepped forward. "You look like you could use some help, son," she said gently, her voice carrying warmth even through the storm. Ryan looked up, startled. I'm fine, ma'am. Just out of gas and a little stuck, that's all. I'll figure something out." But Martha saw through the bravado. She recognized that stubborn pride. It was the same one her late husband used to have, back when he'd lost his job at the mill and pretended everything was fine. "Where are you headed?" she asked. "Just trying to get home," he muttered. "About 60 miles west, but my wallet got lifted at a diner earlier. I got nothing left. Guess I'll wait out the night." The words broke something inside her. Without hesitation, Martha opened her purse, took out the last $10 bill she had, and handed it to him. "Take this, dear. Get yourself some gas and something warm to eat." Ryan shook his head. "I can't take that from you." "Yes, you can," she insisted, pressing it into his hand. "Because I've been where you are. And sometimes, all a person needs is a little mercy to keep going." For a long moment, the young biker just stared at her, the rain tracing lines down his face that might have been tears. He nodded, his voice breaking slightly. "Thank you, ma'am. I don't even know what to say." "Just say you'll pay it forward someday," Martha replied with a soft smile. He promised he would. Then, after filling his tank and thanking her again, Ryan rode off into the wet night, his taillight disappearing into the dark. Martha watched until he was gone, unaware that she had just changed the course of both their lives. By the next morning, Martha's situation had only gotten worse. The $10 she'd given away had been meant for her groceries, milk, bread, and her heart medication. She didn't complain, but when she opened her fridge, all that was left was half a loaf of bread and a jar of jam. Her stomach growled, and her hands trembled slightly as she took her pills with plain water. Her home was small and old, tucked at the end of a gravel road. The roof leaked in 2 places, the heater rattled when it worked at all, and the mailbox still carried bills she couldn't open without feeling sick inside. She'd once had a husband, a garden, and a house filled with laughter. Now it was just her, and the quiet hum of memories. Still, she smiled when she thought of the young man from the night before. "I hope he got home safe," she murmured to herself, sitting by the window with her cup of tea. Meanwhile, somewhere across the state, Ryan couldn't get that moment out of his head. He was a member of a motorcycle club called the Iron Nomads, a brotherhood of veterans, mechanics, and riders who'd all faced hard times. He'd been on his way home from a funeral that night, carrying the weight of grief and frustration. But that woman's kindness, her quiet, selfless act, had shattered the bitterness that had been eating at him for months. When he reached the clubhouse, he told the story to his friends. He spoke about the frail old woman in the rain, how she'd handed him her last few dollars without hesitation, and how her words, "Pay it forward someday," had hit harder than anything else in his life. One of the older riders, a burly man named Tank, leaned forward. "You say she lives around here?" Ryan nodded slowly. "Yeah, about a half hour from here, near Old Creek Road." Why? Tank's weathered face softened. "Then we're gonna pay it forward. All of us. The room fell silent, and then one by one, the bikers nodded. The next morning, the rumble of engines rolled through the quiet countryside like thunder. 50 motorcycles, gleaming chrome and roaring hearts, turned down the gravel lane toward Martha Green's little house. The birds scattered from the trees, and the wind carried the low, powerful hum of something extraordinary about to happen. Martha, sitting by her window with her tea, froze when she saw them. Her first thought was fear. Who were these men? But then she saw Ryan at the front, removing his helmet, smiling that same gentle smile from last night. "Martha!" he called out, his voice filled with emotion. "You remember me?" She opened the door, clutching her shawl. "Ryan, oh dear. I thought you'd forgotten all about an old lady like me." He shook his head. "Never. You gave me more than $10 last night. You gave me faith when I'd lost it." The other riders parked their bikes and began unloading something from a large trailer they'd brought along. Martha stepped closer, confused, until she saw what it was. A brand new ramp and wheelchair-accessible porch freshly built. Next to it, a month's worth of groceries, boxes of warm blankets, and a small envelope sitting on top. Ryan placed it in her hand. Inside was a note that read beneath the note, $12,000 in cash, donated by the Iron Nomads and their community. Martha's hands began to shake. Tears welled up in her eyes, spilling down her wrinkled cheeks. "I don't understand. Why would you all do this for me?" Tank, the older rider, stepped forward, removing his sunglasses. "Because, ma'am, last night you didn't see a biker. You saw a human being. And sometimes that's all it takes to change the world." Martha covered her mouth, overwhelmed. The bikers spent the entire afternoon repairing her porch, fixing her leaky roof, and even tuning up her old book. The neighbors came out to watch, many joining in to help. For the first time in years, her home was filled with laughter, the sound of hammers and friendship echoing through the air. As the sun began to set, the riders gathered for one last photo in front of Martha's home. The orange sky burned bright behind them, and Martha stood in the middle, her tiny frame wrapped in a leather jacket Ryan had gifted her. A jacket with the Iron Nomads emblem stitched on the back. "You're one of us now," Ryan said with a grin. "Your family." She laughed through her tears. "I never thought I'd join a biker gang at 76. Everyone chuckled, and the moment felt like something out of a movie, raw, beautiful, and real. That night, after everyone had gone, Martha sat on her new porch beneath the stars. The quiet returned, but it was a different kind of quiet, one filled with peace, not loneliness. She looked up, whispered a thank you to her late husband, and smiled. "Guess kindness really does come full circle," she said softly. "Before you go, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Soul Spark for more true stories that prove kindness is still alive in this world." And from that day on, the story of Martha Green and the Iron Nomads spread far beyond that little town. Local papers covered it, neighbors shared it online, and soon people across the country were talking about the elderly woman who gave her last $10, and the army of bikers who returned the favor 100-fold. But for Martha, the greatest gift wasn't the money, or the repairs, or the groceries. It was knowing that even one small act of kindness, done with love and no expectation, could ripple through the world like thunder. Because sometimes, it takes just one person with a giving heart to remind everyone else what it means to be human. And that's the kind of spark that can light 1,000 souls.